All right then. Hi, welcome everyone to today's webinar that is about how to effectively build your public speaking skills. So let's begin. Starting with strategies for improving your public speaking skills. My name is Syed Mohyuddin. I also go by the name of Miles. I will be your host and presenter for today. Now, let's jump into the agendas for the day. Number one, we are going to be talking about what are the benefits of public speaking, importance of understanding your audience, checklist for before checklist for before the presentation, things you need to prepare for, benefit of using storytelling, tips for staying calm and relaxed, and effectively using your body language and nonverbal communication skills. All right, let's begin. So, starting with the introduction, again, my name is Syed Mohyuddin. I am an industry leading expert in international recruitment process. I have more than 10 years of experience working in various different countries, including India, America, Australia, Canada, South America, and UK. I started my career as a junior recruiter and I was able to climb the corporate ladder. Right now, I am working as an head of operation and HR management for a reputed company. This is my LinkedIn. If you guys would like to connect, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. My name is Syed Muhyiddin Asadi on LinkedIn. Again, I also go by the name of Miles Hamilton. All right, so let's begin with our very first topic: practice, practice, and practice. Public speaking is all about practice. The more you practice, the better you get. Practicing public speaking skill is one of the most uh, key skills that you can develop about yourself. So what are some of the basic tips to practice public speaking and how does it help? So number one, it helps you build your confidence. And confidence not just about your public speaking skills, but it will help you build your confidence in your personal and professional lives. It helps you deliver It helps you in delivery and facing. Whether you might be talking to a friend, you might be talking to an audience, or you might be talking to someone, maybe in your office or in your college or someplace. It'll help you effectively deliver your message, and at the same time, it'll help you effectively improve your facing skills. Pacing means how fast you should be speaking based on what you're speaking. It helps you to identify and overcome your nervous habits. So, if you have some sort of nervousness, if you have anxiety, if you have stage fear or something else, it'll help you overcome your anxieties, your nervousness, all your nervous habits. It'll allow you for better adaptation to different audience and environment. It will help you achieve to adapt to any kind of audience and any kind of environment. It facilitates the use of visual aids and other tools. Keep in mind, visual aids are always important, especially for presentations, seminars, webinars, or any other form of public speaking. Similarly, the visual aid that we're using right now is this presentation that you're looking at right now. We can use images like these to bring your attention towards the presentation or the webinar. Now, these are the basic things that you will improve while practicing public speaking. Now, what are the most common methods of public speaking or of practicing? Can anyone tell me? What do you think is the most common method of practicing public speaking? Anyone? No? Okay, I'll give you a hint. It's not what you think. Practicing public speaking does not mean that you have to go and start talking to the audience. You can start with a very small audience, or you can start with no audience at all. You can start by talking to yourself, maybe in front of the camera of your phone, or maybe in front of the mirror. Okay, you can start by so little that you don't even need an audience. First, you can start talking to yourself. You can start talking to the camera, or you can start talking to yourself in the mirror. Then you can start talking to your friends, maybe not a huge group of friends, maybe just one friend or two friends. Or you can start talking to your family members. You can give them a speech, or you can imitate someone else's speech. You don't have to write an entire speech. Let's say you saw the news or you saw some video on YouTube. You saw someone giving a very good speech. Try to imitate, try to repeat that speech. That's how you can help practice yourself. That's how you can help yourself build your confidence, build your delivery skills, build your facing skills, identifying your nervousness, identifying your anxieties. It'll help you to adapt to your audience. And similarly, you can start using visual aids to help your presentation or to help your speech or to help your discussion. So start by little. Talk to yourself, talk to yourself on your camera, on your cell phone using your camera, or talk to yourself in the mirror. While doing that, try to observe your mannerisms. How are you speaking? What is the voice, tone of voice that you're using? What is the pitch of voice that you're using? Are you stressing on important keywords? Are you taking too many fillers? Too many pauses? Generally, when someone takes too many pauses or too many fillers in any kind of discussion, it starts become it starts to become stale. Now, when I say fillers, usually we use our fillers a lot in our personal lives, using words like hmm. Usually, when we are thinking something, we will say hmm, or usually when we want to say yes, we say hmm, hmm. Try to avoid using those fillers because it kind of gives a message that you're not ready, you're not prepared, or you don't know what you're talking about. So focus on your fillers. See where the knowledge gap is. Is there a knowledge gap or is there a confidence gap? Are you not ready? Are you not prepared? Prepare yourself before you start talking, before you start speaking. It's always important to prepare. Now, again, these are the most common method of practicing your public speaking skills. Talk to yourself, talk talk to yourself in front of the camera, talk to yourself in front of the mirror. Once you adapt talking to yourself, then go out and experiment. I'm not saying as soon as you adapt yourself, go and talk to 100 people, don't go or go and talk to 10 people, or not even just 5 people. Try to find one friend or two friends who are ready to listen to you, or try to find a family member, maybe your brother, your sister, your parents, your uncle, someone who's willing to listen to you, and then start speaking in front of them. And then take a feedback from them. Take a feedback from your friend or your family member who you're talking to. Ask them what you can improve. And don't take that in a critical manner. Take that in a constructive manner. Try to improve based on that feedback. That is the most basic tip that anyone can give you about public speaking. And gradually, as you improve, maybe it's about speaking in front of your friends or family members or yourself, then try to increase your audience. Go from two friends to three friends, or start speaking in front of your class if you're in college or school. Start speaking in front of your class. If you're working somewhere, try to be more involved in. extracurricular activities that will also give you the confidence to have to do public speaking. Extracurricular activities, maybe your office has a presentation, be the one who's going to deliver the presentation. Or maybe your office is having an event, they need a host. Try to be that host. Try to stand up, try to say yes to things, to new things, to extracurricular things. That will help you improve your public speaking skills. Now, I'm sure all of you must have heard of Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins says the path to success takes massive and determined action. Tony Robbins is one of the world's best public speaker. He draws an audience of hundreds or if not millions of people towards his seminars or webinars. And the most basic thing that he suggests is it takes massive amount of determined action, action, focused practice. You have to take the step. Unless until you take the step, you don't know whether you're going to exceed or fail. And failure is not always a failure, it's a learning step. It can help you do better next time. This is what Tony Robbins says. Try to incorporate that in your daily life. Try to incorporate that in your day to day activities. Face everything head on with massive determined action. Moving on to our second topic. Now, let's say you started speaking to people, you started practicing. Now, keep in mind it's always important to know your audience. How do you know your audience? What should you be following? So, here are some tips to know your audience. Understand the audience. Usually, the audience can be divided between three different categories. One, what are their interests? Two, what is the level of their understanding? Three, what are their needs? Why do they need to listen to you? First of all, think of it. What do people like? Let's say you're talking to your friends. Start thinking about their interests because when you talk to them about their interests, that's when you will have their full attention. Now, again, when you start talking to them about their interest, understand their level of understanding as well. How familiar are they with the topic? And try to keep the message within their level of understanding, within their level of, knowledge about the topic. And then lastly, focus on their needs. What do they need to learn? What do they need to understand? What should you be telling that will make them listen to you? So you see this small area over here. This is your sweet spot. This is where you want to be, where you know the interest, where you understand the level of their, uh, their level of understanding, and you know their needs. That's when you can deliver a perfect presentation or webinar or seminar or speech, whatever you're trying to do. Now, here are some tips. Ask yourself when you're preparing for a presentation, who is your audience? Who is your audience? Are you talking to students? Are you talking to your friends? Are you talking to your family members? Are you talking to your colleague at work? Are you talking to strangers? Understand, who are you talking to? Who is your audience? Next, what is their level of understanding of the topic? You cannot just randomly pick a topic and start speaking where people might not even have any sort of basic knowledge about the topic. You all are here because you understand what public speaking is, correct? That is why we are doing a webinar on public speaking. Imagine you had no idea what public speaking means, or imagine you came here to listen or learn to understand the tips about public speaking, but let's say I'm talking about something else. I'm talking about cars, or I'm talking about some sort of engineering, which let's say you don't even have any idea, you don't have any interest. Then that is a failure from my end. As a presenter, that is a failure of my end, because I am not talking about the topic. I'm not talking about what you're looking for. I'm not understanding who my audience is, what they're looking for, and do they even understand what I'm talking about. So always know who your audience is and what is their level of understanding of the topic is. Next, what are their needs and interests? Why do they need to listen to you? What are the things that will interest them in your webinar or your speech or your seminar or whatever it might be? And how can I tailor my message to them? Try to think, how can I properly give a message that will be a tailor-made message for you. It can be delivered across the board so that you can understand the topic clearly. Ask these questions. Who is your audience? What is their level of understanding? What are their needs and an interest? And how can I tailor my message to them? How can I deliver my message to them? That's when you will start drawing proper attention from your audience. Now, next is be prepared. Don't just randomly wake up and start speaking or say that I'm going to give a speech today. I'm going to talk to the audience today. I'm going to do a presentation today. Try to prepare, try to learn, try to understand about the topic, try to create a route map for your discussion. That is when you will be able to appropriately deliver the message. The whole point, whether it might be a speech, a webinar, a seminar, a public discussion, or anything, or even a debate, the whole point of all these public speakings are to deliver the message. When you listen to, let's say, a politician giving a speech, what is the motive of that politician giving that speech? Why are they giving that speech? Because they want you to know what are their plans are. They want you to know what they are going to do or what they are currently doing. And if they are not able to properly explain what they have done, what they are doing, and what they want to do, then public is not going to vote for them. That is why they always need to prepare. They will prepare a message, prepare what they have done, what they are currently doing, and what they are going to do. And they will try to deliver that message according to the audience so that the audience can understand from the speech that they have done these many things so far. They are currently doing these things, and their plan is to complete these things by this time or something. That is why it's always important to be prepared. Now, these are the things to do before your presentation, to prepare yourself for a presentation or any kind of public speaking event. Again, it can apply to any kind of public speaking event. It might be a presentation, a speech, a webinar, a seminar, a debate, a public group discussion, or something. All these things can be adapted for any kind of public speaking event. Number one, research. Number two, prepare. Number three, rehearse. Number four, gather. Number five, anticipate. And number six, practice. Now let's jump into these topics. First of all, try to research the topic, understand what you're going to talk about. If you have an expertise in an area, make sure you have appropriate knowledge about that area. Research about it, make sure you have proper information before you start talking to people. Prepare. Prepare the script or outline of your presentation. Write a script or write an outline. Generally, you should not be reading something from a script because it might come across too robotic or too monotonous. Yeah. And people will start losing interest when you're reading something from a script. We all remember from our school days, right? When teachers started reading from a textbook. Are Didn't we all started feeling bored as soon as they started reading from a textbook, right? Because they were blankly reading a script instead of creating an outline and delivering the message. So always keep in mind, prepare a script, but don't read from a script. Rehearse. Rehearse the presentation.
True.
Rehearsals are always important. Rehearse your presentation, whether it might be any kind of discussion. Rehearse and rehearse and rehearse. Just like we said, practice and practice and practice. You have to practice again and again and do 10 rehearsals, 10, 20 rehearsals do that until you start feeling comfortable. Next, gather. Gather visual aids and material. Try to bring as much information as possible. Try to make visual aids. Again, visual aids is this: creating something that your audience can see, just like this, a presentation that you guys are looking at right now. Try to bring different information, different colors, different chart, different facts, everything that can help your audience visualize what they're talking about. Imagine, instead of showing you guys these steps: research, prepare, rehearse, gather, anticipate, and practice. Instead of showing these to you guys on my screen, what if I just said this with a black screen or a blank screen? It would be really hard for you guys to remember. But when you're actually looking at it while I'm talking about it, this will help you visualize. This will help you understand even better. This will help you remember the message in future. So always visualize your presentations. Anticipate questions. Try to think what your audience might ask you, what kind of doubts they might have, what kind of questions they might have, what kind of clarification they might need. Try to anticipate those questions and try to prepare yourself for those questions. You can never prepare 100% for questions because you cannot predict what someone is going to ask you, but it's always better to think of some questions and be prepared so that it won't affect your confidence. Keep in mind, confidence is the key. The moment you lose your confidence is the moment where your presentation will start going down. Lastly, practice. Practice using equipments and technologies. Make sure you're using different equipments and technologies. Something like this: PowerPoint presentation. I'm using PowerPoint to properly visualize my presentation. And similarly, while practicing, use various different technologies. Record yourself on camera, record your audio, listen to yourself, watch your video. Look how you're behaving. What is your body language doing? How does your voice sound? Practice all these things. Now, another famous quote: I believe that people make their own luck by great preparation and good strategy. People don't succeed just because of luck. People succeed because they have prepared, they have a good strategy. This was said by Jack Canfield. So it's always important to prepare yourself. It's always important to have a good strategy. This will help you gain the confidence that you need. Now, next is use storytelling skills. How to add storytelling skills in your presentation or in your discussions. So these are a couple of tips how to tell us how to effectively use storytelling process in your presentation. It helps you capture your audience's attention. When you constantly bring stories or past experience, your own experience or examples in your presentation or in your discussion, that will bring your audience's attention towards you, and that will help them understand better as well. So far, we have taken examples of politicians, of teachers. Why? The whole reason was to deliver the message to you appropriately so that you can clearly understand what I'm talking about, what I'm trying to say. So it's always important to have storytelling skills, and it helps to make the message more relatable. Again, when people start relating to your message, connecting to your message, that is when people start feeling what you're trying to deliver. They will connect with you. They will connect with your presentation. They will connect with your discussion. The reason I chose an example about teacher is because I can 100% say that all of you must have felt at least once in your school days when teachers started reading from a textbook, you felt like that was the most boring thing to do. All of you must have felt it, and that is how we will connect. That is how you will relate to my story. That is how you will relate to my message. That is how you will relate to my presentation. That is how you will relate to my webinar. So it's always important to have storytelling skills. Next, it enhances the emotional impact of the message. It speaks to your audience's emotions. A lot of time, again, going back to the same example of the teacher, it brings back the memories of your childhood. I'm trying to connect with you emotionally over here. Next, it makes it easier to remember the main points so that after this presentation is done, after this webinar is done, or tomorrow, or day after tomorrow, or 1 week later, or 2 weeks later, you might remember my message. You might remember what are the things I told you, what are you will might remember what are the tips that I gave you because of a story that I told you, because you were able to relate to that story as well, and it will help you increase your audience's engagement. Your audience automatically start becoming more engaged. Now, one more quote by a very famous author: no story lives unless someone wants to listen. The story we love best do live in us forever. So whether you come back by page or by the big screen, Hogwarts will always be there to welcome you. This was said by one of the most famous author and one of the most successful author of our generation, that is J.K. Rowling. I hope all of you know who J.K. Rowling is. She is the writer of Harry Potter. And this is what she says: the stories will only live when there is someone there to listen. So always keep that in mind. But once you connect with a story, it will always be there with you. Next, next important tip to improve your public speaking skills is learn how to be relaxed and be yourself. Unless until you're relaxed, unless until you're being yourself, you won't be able to deliver a good public speaking event. You need to understand how to be relaxed. You cannot be nervous in front of your audience because the moment you start being nervous is the moment you're losing your confidence. And the moment that you're losing your confidence is the moment you are stumbling, you're stuttering. You will start doing bad in your presentation. And it's always important to be yourself. Try not to copy others. Try not to act like others. Be yourself, act how you would act so that you won't be trying to imitate someone and you won't be making a big blunder. Now, these are some of the tips uh, about how to calm yourself and how to relax yourself before a presentation and during a presentation. The whole goal is to have a happy face like this. Now, starting with the number one tip is take a deep breath. Now, again, a lot of you will think that is the most basic thing that anyone will do. Everyone breathes, right? But taking a deep breath can bring your anxiety level immensely. Trust me, next time when you're feeling nervous about talking to someone or asking something or doing something, take a deep breath. Take the longest breath possible. Breathe in, hold, and then breathe out. You will automatically start feeling relaxed. And then you will automatically start gaining confidence. It looks like a very basic thing. It looks like a very common thing that everyone does. But trust me, it is one of the most effective way to help you calm your anxieties. Number two, use positive self-talk. Self-criticism is important, but it's not always required. You need to start speaking to yourself positively as well. You need to boost your own confidence. You need to talk to yourself in a manner to gain confidence and to build positivity within yourself. Next, try to visualize that you have already given a successful presentation. That will help you calm your anxiety. Try to visualize that you're already successful. Try to visualize that you have given the best presentation possible, and that will automatically help you calm down. Use humor. Try to be funny about it. Try to laugh about it. Again, laughing will bring your anxieties down as well. And then dress comfortably. Wear something that you're comfortable in. Don't try to wear something just to show off to your audience, or don't try to wear something just thinking that your audience might feel impressed if you wear this. No, your audience will be impressed if you behave confidently in front of them. It does not matter what you wear. You might be wearing a t-shirt, you might be wearing a suit, you might be wearing some formals, you might be wearing some casuals. If you might be wearing the most expensive suit, but if you don't have the confidence, if you don't have the mannerism, people are not going to like you. People are not going to like your presentation. You might be wearing the cheapest t-shirt, you might be wearing the cheapest jeans, but you have proper mannerism. You have the confidence to deliver the message, and you are delivering the message. No one is going to care about your clothes. So try to wear something that you are comfortable with, not your audience. Next, continuously improve. It is always important to focus on yourself continuously. There will be no point in life where you will get up one day and say, I am perfect in this. If you're telling that to yourself, then you're lying. You have to continuously improve your skills. Today, you might be doing this really amazing. You can do better tomorrow. Continuously improving is the key. Now, here are some tips about how to continuously improve. Always ask for a feedback. That will help you improve your public speaking skills. You can ask for feedback from audience and other speakers. You're speaking to an audience, or you have other people as well on stage with you who are speaking along with you. Ask them for a feedback. If you have recorded the video, analyze the video. Go watch your own video again. See how you behave. See what can you do better next time. Join a public speaking group or a club where you will be able to meet other public speakers as well, and you can discuss with them on strategies or tips on how to improve. What are the techniques that they are using that you might not be familiar with? Try to read books and articles on public speaking, and trust me, they have really good information in it. They have really good tips in it. I understand that reading books is a lengthy task, is a hectic task for a lot of people, but trust me, it helps you a lot. Attend workshops and seminars like this, the one that you're in right now. These kind of workshops and seminars will give you a lot of tips. A lot of things might seem very basic, but trust me, these small things, a lot of time, people forget. People will forget about these small things when they get on stage because they let their anxiety, their nervousness, their nervous behavior habits get over them, get over their mind, get over their body. And that's when people start forgetting these basic things. Next, body language and non-verbal communication. So keep in mind, communication is not just about verbal. Verbal communication will be what is coming out of your mouth. You're saying something from your mouth, that is verbal communication. But there is a second method of communication as well. That is your body language and your non-verbal communication. For example, I'm always moving my hands. I'm always moving my body according to what I'm talking about. So language is one of the most important part about any public speaker should have. And apart from that, you have non-verbal communications as well, where you might be using different tones, different pitch based on what you're talking about. So, here are some tips to improve or that can help you in your presentation using your body language and your nonverbal communication. Maintain a good posture. Maintain a good posture. Maintaining a good posture is important because when you do that, your audience will look at you and say, this person has good amount of confidence. Because if you're slouching, if you're bending, you know, if you're acting nervous, then you're not maintaining a good posture, and the audience can clearly see that you're not confident, that you're scared, that you're afraid, that you are nervous, that you're feeling anxious. So it's always important to maintain a good posture, even though you might be afraid, even though you might be scared, even though you might be feeling anxious, even though you might be nervous. But when you maintain a good posture, it looks like you are feeling confident. And that feeling of confidence will help you gain actual confidence. Use appropriate gestures. We always create gestures with our hands, right? Use appropriate gestures in your with your body. Use your body language. Make eye contact with your audience. so that they feel connected. Use facial expressions based on what you're talking about. Make sure you are using appropriate facial expressions. And again, it looks like a very small thing, but trust me, when people get in front of the stage, when they get in front of the audience, they become so nervous. A lot of time you might have seen people or kids do in school. They just freeze, their entire body freezes. They cannot move their arms, they are not moving their face, they're not moving their body. They're just standing straight with their arms tightly closed around their waist or their chest, and they start to mumble words. They start, they will not show any kind of emotion. They will not show any kind of expression on their face. And you might think that only happens to kids. No, it happens to adults as well, grown-ups as well. So try to keep these small things in mind. Next, vary your tone and volume based on what you're talking about and based on uh, the severity of the topic. Change the tone of your voice, change the volume. Don't go in one particular tone, one particular volume, one particular pitch, because again, it will start feeling like you're reading from a script, or that your voice will sound very robotic. And again, when that happens, audience will start losing interest. Next, how to overcome your fears and anxiety. Okay, identify the cause of your fear or anxiety. What is actually making you nervous? Think about it. Is it the audience that too many people are looking at you? Is it the audience that too many people are looking at you, or is it that you feel like you're not going to speak appropriately? Is it that you're afraid of speaking in the language? It might be in Hindi, in English, in any other language. Are you thinking that you are not going to use appropriate word? Is that the problem why you're feeling the anxiety, or is that why you're afraid? Focus, identify those causes, and the reason you should focus is so that you can work on it and you can improve. Let's say you're feeling anxious or you're feeling afraid because of the language. A lot of people are afraid to speak English in front of the audience because they think they might not use appropriate words, they might not pronounce words properly, or they might not use good vocabulary, or they might get stuck constructing a sentence. There are many reasons, but all those things can be worked on. You can take classes, English classes, to improve your English, to improve your vocabulary. You can practice, you can first write a script to practice, to have a proper amount of strategy so that you don't have to construct in front of the audience. You can use different methods to improve. So it's always important to identify the cause of your fear and anxiety. Don't just think that it will go away one day. You will have to work on it. Reframe your negative thoughts. And a lot of time, people are good English speakers, people know how to speak, people know how to construct proper sentences, and people know how to deliver message, but a lot of time people get stuck because they let their negative thoughts over their mind. Even though they might be good, they will start thinking, oh, what will happen if I pronounce this word wrong? What will happen if I say something wrong? What will happen if I'm not able to speak? These kind of negative thoughts will increase your fear, will increase your anxiety. You will start feeling even more afraid. So focus, and reframe your negative thought. Move away from your negative thoughts. And then use visualization and positive talks. Visualize how you're going to speak in front of your audience. Think about it. Imagine how you are going to speak, what kind of confidence you're going to show in front of your audience. And then talk to yourself positively that if I do this, my audience is going to really like it. If they're going to like it, they will get interest in my topic. Give yourself the positive talk. Then practice the relaxation techniques that we discussed 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago. Practice those relaxation techniques. Relax yourself, calm yourself down. Then get support from friends or family or therapist. If you really think that you have such a severe problem, then talk to a therapist. If not, talk to your friends, talk to your family member, get support from them. Next, you always need to understand how to handle questions and interruptions because people are not always going to stay quiet in a presentation or in a speech. They might start asking questions or they might start interrupting you. And this happens a lot with people as well. They are going in a flow of chain. They are going in a, in a flow. And as soon as someone interrupts them, they will forget about everything. They will forget about everything. They will, forget about what do they need to talk about next. What are they currently talking about? And it will take them a lot of time to come back on track. So it's always important to learn how to handle interruptions and questions. Now, here are some of the tips to help you do that. Handling questions and interruptions during a presentation. B. Listen, use, avoid, keep. These are the various different steps. Let's dive into that. First off, B. Be prepared for questions. People are going to ask questions. It's very natural for a human being to ask questions. They will ask as many questions as possible. So be prepared, be ready that people are going to stop you, people are going to interrupt you, and they are going to ask you questions. Listen to their questions carefully so that you can give them appropriate answers. Use positive language. Even if someone is interrupting you again and again, be positive. Use positive language with them. Because it's not just you are going to use negative language with them. The moment you start using negative language with them, your negative thoughts are going to come back to your mind and you're going to start losing your confidence. Avoid confrontations. Now, keep in mind, it's not avoiding questions. You should never avoid questions from your audience. If they have questions, it's your responsibility as a public speaker to answer their questions. But avoid confrontations, arguments, because you are a public speaker, not a debater. Next, keep the presentation on track. If the questions are very deviating from what you're talking about or what your presentation is about, you can politely let them know that that is a very good question, but unfortunately, it has nothing to do with our presentation. We can discuss about that question sometime later, and then you can come back to your presentation. But as I said, you cannot avoid questions, you cannot avoid interruptions. People are always going to interrupt you. People are always going to ask a question. Lastly, use visual aids. Having proper visual aids is important in your any presentation or any public speaking event. How to use them effectively? Number one, use visual aids that are relevant and That enhances the message. Don't randomly just take images or photos or some graphs or something and start showing them to the audience. If it's not relevant, then you should not be using that. Use things which are important, which are relevant to your presentation, which are going to help your audience. Number two, keep it simple. If you make it too complicated, no one is going to pay attention to it. So keep it simple. Number three, practice using visual aids. Because if you don't practice and if you're trying to do that in front of the audience, again, your negative thoughts will come back to you saying that, at how am I going to use this? What if I make a mistake? What if I make a mistake, my audience start laughing at me? A lot of people will think that. And the moment you start thinking that is the moment you have lost your confidence. So practice. That is why that was the very first topic that we discussed. Practice, practice, and practice. Practice everything as much as possible. Use clear and large font. Imagine if these words were so small that you won't even be able to read, then it was just a waste of space, waste of time, waste of my effort. Because if you're not even able to read that, you're not going to pay attention to that. And lastly, if you're using images, use high quality images, because the moment someone see pixels, it will look ugly, and people will start thinking ugly. So try to use high quality images in your visual aids. Now, before we close our session, these are the final thoughts, or this is the summary about our webinar today. This is the takeaway. Remember to practice, practice, and practice. Practice speaking, practice your language, practice your body language, practice your visual aids, practice everything that you use. And again, as I said, practice does not mean directly go in front of the audience of 100 people, 1,000 people. You don't have to do that. Practice with yourself. Practice in front of the mirror. Practice by recording your own video and look at the video. And then practice by doing that in front of your friends. Practice by doing in front of your family members. But always practice. Practice is the most important part of improving your skills. And it's not just your speaking skills. It's about any skill that you want to master in your life. You need to practice. And then take action and start working. You need to take action and you need to start working. You cannot just think that I will do this, I will speak like this, I will behave like this, I will, use visual aids like this, I will talk about this topic. You cannot just sit around and think about it. You need to get up, you need to start talking. You need to start working on it. You will make mistake. You should not get discouraged by those mistakes. You should take those mistakes as a lesson, as a message, and help you improve by not repeating that mistake next time. And one final quote before we close our session: the starting point of all achievement is desire. You need to have the desire to achieve something. That is the starting point of all achievements. If you don't have the desire to succeed, if you don't have the desire to be a good speaker, if you don't have the desire to do something, then you have already failed. You have already lost. So try to find the desire, what you want to do. It's not just about public speaking. If you want to be a public speaker, you need to have that desire. If you want to be something else, you need to have that desire. This was very famously said by one of the greatest author again. His name was Napoleon Hill. So thank you so much, everyone. My name was Sayed Moyuddin. Again, if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, This is my LinkedIn ID. I go by the name of Sayed Mayuddin Asadi, also by the name of Miles Hamilton. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to go ahead and ask. I will be more than happy to answer your questions. You can unmute yourself if you have any question. All right, then. If there are no questions, then thank you so much for your time. It was really wonderful speaking to all of you, and have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.